Hi everyone, Chris here, and today I wanted to talk about Gagné just a wee bit more. Um, Yesterday I mentioned that much like Bloom, he had put together a method of organizing the different types of learning and the different types of learning objectives that somebody might have when they're teaching something. But Gagné did something else. He went through the different um, internal learning process and outlined the different components of learning. And then he put together the 9 events of instruction. And these were meant to support learning as best as possible. And so today I wanted to go through the 9 events of learning. And these are very, very helpful when you're in the planning stages of writing even just a single lesson, just to see if you're ticking off these items as you're going through. And it becomes also important as you're building a larger curriculum that you revisit some of these. It's not like a checklist that you go down. It's something that cycles through if you're doing a longer piece. But yeah, these should be in just about every lesson, not always quite so explicitly in your face, but let's start at the top. So the first event of instruction is gaining attention. And this could be as simple as, all right, class, let's get started. That's gaining attention. Throwing ping pong balls at the students is probably not a good way to gain attention, but that works too. Um, so just, you know, pulling everybody together. The second event of instruction is informing the learner of the objective. And, in a lot of schools now, you see teachers like write on the board the objective of each lesson. Today students will be learn, and all of that's important. It's essentially just telling the learners that you have what they're actually there for. Um, the last thing you want is someone 20 minutes in realizing they're in the wrong room. So just telling people what you're doing that day. Today we're going to talk about Gagné. I did it. I didn't even think about it. Um, then the third event of instruction is stimulating recall of prior knowledge. So we did that too. Yesterday we talked about Gagné and the way he relates to Bloom, and today we're going to go forward. So sort of introducing, where we sit in the lesson. Um, and then the fourth event of instruction is providing the stimulus, and basically that's just presenting the material, essentially um, helping the students through it. So then, see, I'm getting ahead of myself because the fifth element, the fifth event of instruction is providing learning guidance. So you have your material and then you help the students through the material. So then the sixth event of instruction is eliciting performance. So, we hear this a lot in teaching, I'll show you, and then we'll do it together, and then you show me. So it's having the students have an opportunity to practice. Um, and then the seventh event of instruction is providing feedback. It's not very helpful if the students are doing it all wrong and you don't tell them. So providing that feedback so that the students can correct or better, improve what they're doing. And then the eighth event of instruction is assessing performance. So you provide feedback usually to see if you can get the students to perform at their peak, and then you assess them in the end. And then the ninth event of instruction is enhancing retention and transfer. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. In a corporate setting, you might have a job aid that everybody leaves with. So, all right, I've taught you these these 7 steps of handling an irate customer, and here's a little thing you can stick next to your monitor to like remember the different steps. In a classroom setting where you're doing uh, you have a whole term or a whole program, that's when cycling really helps and bringing back the information. So we're going to talk about this stuff probably in another 3 weeks. Then we're going to bring it up and we're going to show how they fit together. So that can really help enhance retention and transfer. So it could be giving a job aid for something simple, or if you're in a longer kind of situation, sort of doing that cycling, that returning back to the information. So those are Gagné's 9 events of instruction, and they are really helpful when you're planning out a lesson. What are you going to do to hit each of these different things? And the key is not to overthink it. Just if you're hitting it, that's usually enough to put yourself on the right track. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.